Book your driving lesson now at dla-driving.co.uk. Sponsored by DLA Driving School.
Hello and welcome to Owen the Town, and here's what's coming up today. The local derby we were all looking forward to turned out to be one of the easiest wins of the season as Luton smash Watford and take home all 3 points.
Today, Luton Town totally dominated that game, and I'm so proud of the group. I'm so proud of our club, and I want to dedicate that firstly to Gary Sweet and our fans, because they would have. And imagine if it had been, we could have won by 10 if it had been fans here.
And as it was such a good performance, instead of focusing on just one player, we decided today let's just focus on the whole team. What a performance, and how good has this season been? We'll be discussing that today. And right now, you can't open any social media app or listen to any radio without hearing it on the news. The Super League is a massive talking point. We'll give you our thoughts on that. And yeah, plenty more to come as well. It's going to be a good one. And today I'm joined by always Dave and Bataro, and Andy Burgess has joined us on Zoom tonight. Evening, guys. How are we?
Very well.
No, come on. We all know how we're all doing.
How you doing?
We're all smiling. Look at that picture on that screen there. He's smiling to it. It's all good.
Andy, you were at Kenilworth Road the other day. I just wanted to straight away, and that must have been incredible. Everyone wanted. It would have been great to have a full house there, but how good was it to be there?
Yeah, I was extremely lucky to be able to be in the ground. I felt so much for everybody who wasn't able to be there, all the fans, because the atmosphere would have been sensational. Honest to God, I was sat just below a tannoy that kept playing the fans, and if you close your eyes, to be fair to them, you would have thought that they were in there. It was superb, but yeah, it was such a shame that the supporters weren't allowed in the stadium. But what a magnificent performance by the team! It was sensational. What
a win, Bataro. I was quite nervous in the build-up to this, and in recent podcasts, I've been saying that I'm nervous. I don't know how it's going to go, and right up until kickoff, even them first 2 minutes, I was like, all right, we've started all right, but it was like a bit nervy, weren't it?
Well, I think we had the same sort of approach, didn't we? You start a game like that, you all know I can go, belly up, but yeah.
Hey, listen, from minute one we were on it. Incredible. I thought we was pressing really high, we was really quick to the ball. You could tell that we wanted it. You could really tell. And, that's the thing. If the fans had been there, I think I said to you guys at the time, I totally agree with that. If the fans were there, it would have been an amazing atmosphere, especially that first 5-6 minutes where we was right on top, getting corners, getting possession. And literally, Watford could have been any team. Yeah,
exactly. And to pin a team let's face it.
They've got
quality, let's face it. And they're potentially going to be a Premier League team. But
we'll see, I guess. Well, before we get into that in more detail, let's get on the 3-word reviews. This is how you guys summed up the game in 3 words. Richard says, a perfect performance. Phil says, thoroughly outplayed them. Kevin, derbies really matter. David says, 11 absolute warriors. Lee says, Gray's a prick. Robert says, promotion bid derailed. Stephen, Feather in shadows. And Alex, could have been 5. It really could have been 5. Though. That's the thing. If we had a bit more clinical edge, Andy, we could have probably scored loads more.
Yeah, I think as you guys just touched on, we started unbelievable, and even from the kickoff, it went back to Matty Pearson. He put it up, and when Elijah won the first header, you could just see it. Everybody was on the front foot. Everybody was at it. The ball went out just in front of us in the main stand, and James Breeze sort of jogged across, and Matty Pearson absolutely got him going straight away. So it was so obvious that a quick start was what Nathan had demanded, and you could just see it straight away. The urgency, the tempo was superb. The quality of the play was good. We were moving them about. We looked confident. The pitch wasn't great. It was a little bit bobbly, but we were getting balls into the box. There was a couple of times that I think Jordan Clark put crosses in, and I think Elijah's just not been on his back, on his heels a little bit, and you think just getting across, get that first strike and things like that. But yeah, we created so many chances. I didn't realise, obviously I was sat in the main, I didn't realise how close Dewsbury Hall's shot was that went just wide of the post. Obviously from the angle you guys have had, it was so close, and there were a couple of other chances. But yeah, it was, honest to God, I just think we wanted it more. the team just wanted it more than Watford, and to say they were second in the league, we absolutely in every department outworked them, outfought them, and wanted it more.
True.
And there was 2 changes from last time out against Wickham, wasn't there? We spoke about this on the podcast last week. Will Luar get a start? Will he get the 90 minutes? Because fans have been saying, why not throw him? And to be fair to Kaz, I thought he did pretty well. KDH came in as well. And as always, Dewsbury Hall just oozed class, didn't he? You know what you're going to get of him. And it's like Andy was saying, just the chances we were having in that first half. Us lot was sitting there going, well, how are we not winning yet?
Yeah, but that's always the fear as well. Do you not think you can have so many chances in the game, you can dominate, and you know there's always that fear in the back of your mind. I'm sure you, Andy, would have had the same thought. Is it going to bite us?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're on top in games, you have to score.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. And so often you see that when you don't, and it had that feel that is it going to be a sucker punch? Because as you say, they've got quality, although we didn't see it. You know, a couple of times the balls went over the top, and you just thought if Matty gets isolated or if Sonny gets isolated and a shot gets deflected, and it felt like that might be the type of game it was. But as it transpired, you know, we fully deserved to get the goal and win the game, and it was a magnificent performance.
And that's something I kept saying to you guys, isn't it? Every time we had a chance and we didn't score it, Watford would break, and they, like we said, they've got talent.
I would say we was all a bit cautious because of that. We've seen Luton dominate before, and then you get suckered at the end, or sit back too deep and they score a late winner, and you thought, well, they can't go a whole game and not have a shot on goal. That's what I felt, but they did, and it was great. And they didn't get a shot on goal because we were playing out of our skins. The defence, absolutely immense on Saturday.
I think it was saying it's silly, like 18 or 20 shots that we had in the end, wasn't it?
Crazy. The whole team, I think the buzz that we've all got right now is because we know they were really up for it.
Yeah, I'm still sweating thinking about it, honestly.
Really
It's ridiculous.
I can't sit here and fault one single player. No. Normally you'd pick out and go, we didn't really see much of him, but I can't think of one player that didn't have a good game.
Like the man of the match the other day went to the whole starting 11, didn't it? Or the whole squad, should I say, that came on, but participated. But
brilliant. You can tell we're buzzing, right? You can tell we're really loving it.
Can't get the words out properly. It's great, isn't it?
But to be fair, the one I was most happy for, because I think at times he's been played at right back, and it's not his position. I just thought Matty Pearson was magnificent, and not just what he did. And you know, we pressed really high to force them to kick it, and when you're kicking it onto Sonny Bradley and Matty Pearson, they're going to have a fight and a scrap, and they won that every single time. Now, I don't think Watford won a header, but he looked more comfortable from a more central area, dropping it. When you're right, I don't want to get too technical because I think it was a more of a wear your heart on your sleeve type of performance. But when you're at right back and you've got that line next year, and you have to sort of clip the balls down that channel and perfect it almost. But when you're more central, you've got better areas to hit. And he clipped some great balls into channels for midfield runners or for Adebayo, and he looked a really good championship centre half, and I was delighted for him. And him and Sonny looked a real difficult partnership to penetrate, and it was fantastic to see.
So Tara, you mentioned that on Saturday, didn't you? You were saying Pearson with them little clip balls down the line seemed to work pretty well.
I played, didn't we? I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, I don't think he actually misplaced a single pass, did he? I mean, even if it, like, you know, the ball went for a Watford player to challenge and try and win, I think the second ball, we won pretty much every single time. Yeah. And that was so pleasing to see, because, like you say, you know, like the quality. We don't want to keep banging on about it because no one wants to hear that, because fuck them. But it's perfect, mate. It's just like you say, like not once did he kick out of play or whatever else. But brilliant, mate.
And Dave, we look at the team performance at the weekend, and maybe in recent weeks we've seen a few mistakes creep in, or we've seen like Sluga potentially could have saved one against Barnsley at home, and you know, Derby away was a bit lacklustre in defending. But this weekend everything was perfect, wasn't it? The whole performance over 90 minutes, no one put a foot wrong.
I'm very old school because I'm a lot older than you guys, and I've seen many derbies, and that one for me, performance-wise, ranks right up there because the whole team played so well. I just literally, from back to front, I've already said it, from back to front, you cannot fault anybody's effort, abilities. The tactics were spot on by the boss. You know, absolutely everything about that performance is glowing for me. And it's a spectacular win. I wish we'd have got 3 or 4, but, you know, one's even just good enough, isn't it?
And someone else I thought looked pretty good, Andy. Naismith, I thought he had another good game.
That's his position for me. That's his position. I think because I know I mentioned it a few times on Twitter. I think at centre half, he hasn't got that real natural defensive instinct where he, when Matty Pearce, Sonny Bradley throw his body in front, he goes and tries to win things where when you're in left back position, okay, you do get yourself in those sort of central areas at times, but at left back, you can get away with it more than you can in central areas. And I just think he's an upgrade on Dan Potts. Although Dan Potts has been brilliant for us, I do think he's an upgrade on him, and I think he brings leadership qualities. He was talking his way through the game. I think there's been a clip on Twitter that the club put out of him praising Ken Dewsbury Hall for a pass, and you can tell he's so experienced and everything like that. But he's just all right. He's got the odd mistake in him, but from the player I saw in the first 2 games, he's a far better player than that. He's been a fantastic signing. I think with Jordan Clark and obviously Dewsbury Hall as a loan signing, they've been outstanding for us. And on Saturday, put in a fantastic performance. And I said at half time, I thought Naismith, Jordan Clark and Dewsbury Hall were outstanding. I probably should have put Adebayo in that list because he was such a handful for him, and he led the line brilliantly, and they were so scared of him. But as you say, everybody deserves massive credit.
Adebayo's been having a few brilliant games in a row, hasn't he? He's just been class since we brought him in, and with that header against Wickham, like Nathan Jones said, that's what we wanted to bring him in for, was like goals like that. But he did bully that Watford back four, didn't he?
Mate, all the time. He's a bully. He's a big old boy as well, isn't he? I mean, he's athletic as well with it, but he's not just like like someone like an Akin Femmer who's just good at one thing. He's all rounded. I think we had this conversation last time, didn't we, Andy? But I mean, to finally get obviously I know people say, you need to calm down about Adebayo a little bit. Yeah, all right, maybe so, but let's just not enjoy it while it lasts at the moment, because at the moment he looks like a top draw centre forward, and I think
the chance that they missed in terms of the volley at the back stick, that for me, obviously it didn't cost us, but that is just that's what he will learn. He will learn that he has to go and attack that with his head. He will learn. He's still so young, and I think, as you say, we just have to enjoy the fact that we've got him. We've obviously took him at a great time. We took him when other clubs weren't going to take him at the end of the season, and he's done. He's got 4 goals. James Collins has got 12 goals, and for him to come in and move James Collins out of the team is phenomenal. I don't think anybody perhaps could have expected him to have the impact he's had.
Especially jumping up from League Two, it's to come from that league and do so well is pretty impressive, isn't it?
Like you said about
do you know what? I don't think he actually. Sorry, I don't think he was really. He didn't really stand out in League Two as being somebody who you'd go straight away. Wow, he can make that step up easily. So, in terms of the recruitment, again, you have to say, wow, they've really pulled one out of the hat there, because I don't think there was clubs clambering over us to sign him. So, for us to have identified such a great talent and somebody who's come in and hit the ground running is superb,
and possibly for a small fee as well.
Yeah.
Another one, which is, we know we're not going to pay big, but it's...
Just hit the ground running is the thing, right? If he comes in and he has a bad few games, everybody's going saying, what have you done? But he's been phenomenal in every match. His height, his power, his understanding of the game as well. And I know we're going to talk about the incident for the penalty later on, but I was watching that earlier and I was thinking, wow, he really moved to get that. He really did.
Anticipation, yeah.
Well, Adebayo won the penalty, didn't he? 78th minute. It was a poor back pass from one of their centre-halves, I think, and Adebayo beat the keeper to the ball. Definite penalty. The living room in our house went mental. Everyone appealing for it. Everyone, is he giving it? Is he not? And, what decision, though, to give it?
I don't know what it looked like live, but for me, when I was watching it, and I've watched it back a couple of times, when Addy starts running, he really puts a sprint on to get to that ball first. And he knew exactly, if he got there, he knew he was going to be taken out. 100% knew he was going to go. Yeah. It's a bit unfortunate he got injured for it. But he had to still make up a hell of a lot of ground to get back there. And for that was a really decent.
Sometimes you've got to put in the hard yards, haven't you? Like you say, you've got to put the shift in, and he did.
Andy, what were your thoughts when you saw it happening live?
Yeah, completely agree. And do you know what? What you can add to his list of things that he's got and his list of traits, that he is to be brave, to go in there, because as you say, he's shifting. You got the goalkeeper coming there. They're getting there. It's probably 49 to 51 chance of getting there first. And the number of strikers I played with, probably myself as well, at times, would have maybe took a yard off your run and thought, I don't really fancy this for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, you value your knees.
You've got to be brave to put your body in there and get smashed. And he's been smashed and had to come off. He hasn't just been clipped; he's been smashed. So the anticipation, the desire to get there, the pace to get there, the power to get there, and then the bravery to actually touch the ball past the keeper and get smashed. Magnificent.
And he got injured in the process, which means Colo has to come on for his first touch. And look, Collins is not the most prolific penalty taker, is he? He scored a lot of them.
I think he scored more in the Championship than he has in League One, League Two, isn't he?
Yeah, but the one that stressed me out was Accrington away when he had them 2 penalties, missed the first one. So I'm thinking like a big pressure moment. But you know what, Colo, he's come on and his first touch.
How difficult is it to come off cold from the bench, pick the ball up, put it on let's do mention that. Cheating bloody Watford player scrapes up the penalty spot. He gets the ball, puts it down, he's so calm, and it's his first kick of the game. Again, if that was 10,000 people in there, we'd all want the same thing, but there'd be a little bit more pressure on him, I think. But how easy is that to come off the bench and do? I don't think it is at all.
Collected. I mean, like you said the other day, Andy, like when he steps up and he ice in his veins and whatever else, and he doesn't even look at the referee. When I saw that, I thought, geez, he didn't actually make eye contact at all with anyone. He just got that ball and went, that's my ball, I'm having it.
How difficult would that be, Andy, for Colo to come on with that first touch?
You know what? Taking penalties, I took a few in my career. It's the hardest thing. Honest to God, it looks so easy. And I took a penalty in the Southampton Shield final, and I'd missed one earlier in the game. Oldest shot away, and I mean we're talking perhaps 6,000 there. Oldest shot away. So I've put the ball down for the second one. We've got the second penalty, and Curtis Woodhouse was captain, and he looked at me straight away. And I went, yeah, I'll take it. And I got the ball, put it on the spot in front of the Oldest Shot fans, walked back, turned around, and thought, genuinely, I thought, what the fuck have I said I'll take this penalty for? And I was that close to going, Woody, I can't take it, because I just like proper shit myself, because and unfortunately I scored. Make no bones about it, that is one of the most, everything considered, 78 minutes sat on a bench in a local derby at 0-0, when you're the leading scorer who's been left out of the team. True. In a game where you think you should be, make no bones, he will be spitting feathers at Adebayo's playing. Yeah. Anybody, no, he wants to play, and he should feel he'll be playing. To then come on and have absolute. I thought Nathan Jones had his head in his hands, and he was up close to him, and he said after the game, I asked him if he was okay taking it, or he said if you miss, don't worry, and he said I won't miss, and he just ran on, and the confidence. And the penalty is magnificent, by the way. I mean, I think the goalkeeper's gone quite early, which may have made his mind up, or he might have decided to go that way. He slotted it like he's been. That is one of the best penalties, everything considered, I have ever seen in my life. And the credit that should go to James Collins for that should be absolutely immense.
And imagine the roar in that place if there was 10,000 in there, because that's all I keep thinking about is how loud. The whole game, I think, would have just been incredibly loud. And then the roar when the Watford player gets sent off with 2 minutes to go, that pulling back of Lualua. He was good. He was class, wasn't he? Lualua, I thought, on the weekend, excellent. Everything I've said about, maybe he not having much end product and stuff, but I thought he was immense on Saturday.
Well, you can get a little test of the atmosphere from the people that were there, and we could hear them on the telly screaming penalty and goal. So that was fantastic. I'd love to have been there, especially when the sending off happened as well. It had been down where I was sitting. They would have got everything they deserve from our fans. And I think it's a shame we weren't there, but you can still revel in the victory, because the victory was unbelievably good.
100%, yeah.
Unbelievably good. If it was like a scrappy game and we won 1-0, I'd still love it.
Oh,
yeah. We wouldn't be crowing as much as we are now.
But we dominated for 90 minutes.
We dominated the whole match. The whole match. And even when we got a bit, at the end, a bit tetchy when they were getting a couple of chances, I still thought we were going to win it. So yeah. Loved it.
Andy, was it loud when the goal went in at Kenilworth Road?
Do you know what it was? I was 5 yards away from Gary Sweet and David Wilkinson, so I was right sort of in the heart of it, and there seemed to be lots of people there. I'm not sure. I know I was in the Eric Morecambe before the game, and Nathan came up and spoke to a load of people who I think are his family and things, and they were all sat in there, and so there was a little bit, and there wasn't atmosphere, but there was a little bit of a buzz because the Watford directors were sat on the opposite side, who made a bit of noise when Nobed scored, obviously, and quickly got shouted down. But they were making quite a bit of noise. To be fair, our directors and things, and it's just sad. Just going back and just making a point on Lua. Who I think is a great player. Obviously, in the summer before last, when he was out of contract, I rang Simon, the physio, Luton physio, Simon Parcelli, who was my physio at Rushton, and asked him about him because he was out of contract, and I really liked him. And he just said he just can't play 90 minutes. He can't train all week. He's just got he's like a 38-year-old body. And that's
the size of his legs as well. He's huge, isn't he? The muscle mass.
Yeah, huge. And he just said, listen, if he could train every day and play 90 minutes every week, he'd be in the Premier League. Absolutely no doubt about it. But he just hasn't. I love him to bits, and I think he produces at key times. We saw last season the goal that kept us up, the goal at Wickham last week. I think he's a match winner, and I think it's such a shame that he's not shown us a little bit more because I think of injuries. But he's a real good talent. But yeah, we could go. Well, I think we could talk about this one all night, couldn't we?
Yeah. Do you think with that knowledge of Lua, then do you reckon that's worth keeping him for next season? For that, if he can't play 90 minutes, is it worth just having him as a game changer that he can come on and piece of magic and win a game?
And I think he realises that's his remit. I think he realises that he can't play every week. My cousin, when I got to the game, texted me, who's season ticket holder, and said, I hadn't seen the team because I was driving and things. And he said, Lua. I said, well, that would be sort of 60 minutes and you probably have Moncur come on. And when, it got to the game, I thought, Christ, he's played 90 minutes. I was amazed. But I think as long as the lad is happy with that, and as long as the player understands that is his role, that's the hardest thing. Players who are out the team and coming off the bench is fine. But if they come off the bench and produce, and then they're not put in the team, that's when I think the likes of perhaps Moncur will look at it and say, well, what more do I need to do? Because he's probably been a little bit unlucky, Moncur. But it's all, for me, it's about the personality of the player, I think.
So, Andy, I got a question for you. How did you celebrate that goal, seeing as though you were there? Come on, tell me the truth as well. What did you do?
It was a little bit diluted because I was supposed to be there as an unbiased scout who was watching the game. Well, I was there as an unbiased scout. So I put it on. I filmed obviously the goal, and then it came down, and it was just up in the seat. We were frog marched to the seat. It's one of them. Don't leave your seat, et cetera, et cetera. So it was just the old get up, fist pump. I think a little smile to Gary and the board. And do you know what? You could just see what it meant to them. It was fantastic. They absolutely lived and breathed every kick. David Wilkinson, Gary Sweet, Gary Sweet's misses next to him. They were heading every ball. It was that. We're so lucky. We are so lucky.
It's been so long since that we've seen that happen. The other thing, when we scored the penalty, I don't know if you noticed the two stewards behind the goal, they were going mental. They were going absolutely mental.
Also, something happened with us here before that penalty. Dave's lost a tooth, hasn't he?
No,
I
was going to mention that one.
Shut up,
David, over to you.
No, during my celebrations, my crown fell out. So I'm a little bit toothless. Thanks for bringing that up.
Look, we had to. You can just ignore that. I remember your tooth just falling on the floor as the penalty goes in.
It just dropped out of my mouth. I don't know. It's the excitement of it all. What's the drawing in, I suppose.
And
Cheers,
then
fella.
we had a bit of a. You're welcome. Had a bit of a scare in the 90th minute. Andre Gray, diving header.
What a cock.
Every single goal we concede, I always just try and look at the linesman and think is the flag up? And the one time this season when I've wanted it most, it's happened, and it just capped off a beautiful day, didn't it? I don't know how offside this was. Was there, Andy? Did you have any indication of how offside this was?
I never even thought it was offside. From where I sat, I never. I'm the same. I always look across to the linesman. I think there was probably about 3 poles in my way before I could see if I could see the linesman anyway. But it never crossed my mind that he was offside. He didn't look offside from where I was. He looked like he came almost from behind the defence. I don't know, was it Potts at that time? I can't remember who it was, but it just never crossed my mind. So when the flag went up, because the Watford directors were in the eye line of us, sort of looking across to that end.
Yeah.
It was even better because they were all on their feet, and then as they went down, they got the from the Luton directors. So,
I love that.
I would say, I mean, I've looked at it a couple of times, and I think that Gray came back from an offside position to get the ball.
Right.
To push it in. I think he was. I kept thinking, how was he offside? He seemed to be.
Where was the same? Yeah.
How was he offside? How was he offside? I'm glad he was. But I think when I looked at it again, and if you tweet this later, Andy, and I'm wrong, I think he came back. I think he sort of literally came back and then scored. So he was offside when the ball went forward.
Here's a suggestion. We could do that. Andy, you could do an analysis on Dave's eyesight. They're on his dodgy teeth.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
It was just a relief though, weren't it? Because for me, when that ball went in, them like 3 seconds between the goal going in and the offside, my heart dropped, and I just thought,
Typical.
I can't believe we've just done that. Like, we've dominated the game, and that for me felt like a bit of a loss in them 3 seconds until that flag went up and I was buzzing. But it would have been really cruel on us, Andy, if that would have counted.
100%. It would have been like a loss. It would have been such a travesty of justice because no genuine or no Watford, nobody associated with Watford Football Club can say that they deserved anything from the game. I don't think the players were cut for it. I think the only player on the day that I would say would maybe get in our team on the day would be Will Hughes, who had a bit of a go. The rest, for me, was shambolic, and we completely dominated. Apart from that, which you could say, well, we held a good line because we played him offside. Apart from that, they were absolutely, like Dave, toothless. So,
Thank you very much. Yeah, I love you already.
Overpaid bunch of wankers.
No, do you know what though? What it shows is that we have a squad that's together, and their squad, they're just ex-Premier League players who doesn't know the value of what they were playing in on Saturday. That's how I looked at it.
Well, we said before the
tosses, that's what they are.
Before the game of the weekend, so our Portsmouth mate in our group chat was saying, because I said, surely Luton are going to want it more than Watford today. And he was saying, yeah, but, Watford have got the talent. Obviously, he's just just how it is with football. But I was like, but Luton players are going to want it more. And it just they proved that Watford players probably had no idea how big a game this was for the club. They probably come to Kenilworth Road at, maybe not the best pitch, and Luton were at them all game.
Mate, our mentality was worth more than their playing squad on that day. You know what I mean?
When you
could implement mentality into people, then just look at what Luton did, and that was fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a proud moment. It really is. It makes me want to cry a little bit because I really wish we were all there.
Also, I think
and celebrating.
I genuinely think their supporters and possibly their players thought they were going to turn up, turn us over, get their 3 points, and go. They thought it was going to be easier than it was.
Well, yeah.
And they weren't prepared for our commitment. And I loved that. And I loved the way that Nathan Jones set up the team. I loved the way they started from minute 1 to minute 90. Loved every minute of it.
There you go. Remember that tweet I got as well? And you'll love this one as well. I had a Watford fan tweet me after the game or whatever he did. And he turned around and said, oh, yeah, we're Premier League. Stop celebrating or whatever else. He goes, how can you even celebrate when you've got a shit pitch? No other team can play football on that. I was thinking, mate, that you can see it all around Twitter. Like, you're making excuses. It's pathetic. Come on, as a ex-footballer yourself, that's a poor one, isn't it? Really poor.
Yeah, it's just I was amazed when I saw Cleverley wasn't in the team because for me, in a local derby, okay, he's obviously been a good player, Man United, Everton, etc. But he's the type of player who would know perhaps what it's about. Him and Hughes in midfield, who would have a little bit of a go for him. And I thought even when he came on a little bit, they had a little bit more bite about him. Obviously, the lad got sent off and he moved sort of more to right back. But I totally agree. I think they just came. They thought it was going to be easy, Ozzy. And when that happens, when you go into a game where you think it's going to be easy and all of a sudden the opposition start so much on the front foot with so much energy, with so much urgency, with so much bite about them, you go, fuck. Yeah. And it's so difficult to then switch your mentality to, oh, shit, we better have a go here. Because as collective, they didn't fancy it and we did. And it obviously showed, the result was the correct one in the end.
Yeah, with the fight as well, someone's punching the shit out of you for the first 2 or 3 minutes or whatever. You know, in the boxing, you know what I mean? You're going to find it hard to adjust, but it's pretty the same thing in football as well, realistically.
Well, with the derby earlier on in the season, Nathan Jones said after the game didn't feel like a derby. We saw in that in that game at Vicarage Road, Harry Cornick was like helping a Watford player off the floor, and we all just sitting there. And I feel like maybe it wasn't drilled in enough then, but I felt like maybe in the build up to this one that it was really hammered home. Like this is you're not helping someone off the floor if they're on the floor. You're going full on, go full on, and it kind of felt like that. Andy, do you reckon it was drilled into them massively beforehand?
Yeah, I think so, and I totally agree. We don't want to be. I don't think we want to be seeing. I don't think Nick Harford would want to be seeing Harry Cornick pull people off the floor. No. I think it perhaps was a case of right. This is probably clip the previous game, and this is the things we don't want to see. These, they've turned us over. You saw the fallout of the first game. You've got an opportunity here to put it right on our patch, and I, whatever it was, whatever flipped the switch of our players to say, look, this is the biggest game of the season. For us, our supporters, it fucking worked a treat, and it was an outstanding display.
And I was just going to say, what a way to secure your place in the championship as well. What a way
officially safe.
Even better.
No more relegation talk on the podcast, lads.
Come on, as soon as we reached 50 points, it was never happening. But can I just say as well, do you think that's the reason why Luke Berry started the other day? Because he's got a bit of bite about him.
Well, I do, because I think I was surprised he was playing really, because he got taken off at half time at Wycombe, wasn't he? Yeah. And he's not. I think he's probably more suited to Kenilworth Road because it's a small pitch. Wycombe's quite a big pitch, to be fair, and Kenilworth Road's a tight pitch where you can get around, we can get people going. Mm-hmm. Luke Berry, for me, is a technical player, but I was amazed at how much bite he had, and he left a couple.
I've seen it a few times now. Yeah.
And he was so good. He was so on the front foot. He was getting us going. He was superb. And I was pleasantly surprised by him because I did know he was, heart on a sleeve player, and he had a bit about him. I didn't realise he had that much in terms of leading from the front in that sense. He was superb. He was magnificent, and he came off on 80 minutes because he was fucked.
Yeah, and that's what you want. Yeah, he gives 100%. And we know the thing. This is what I've said to you boys before. I said. With me, like you said about Luke Berry, will he be here? And I always said, I hope he is going to be here. I think I said it the other week because I know that every time I see Luke Berry, he puts in the shift. He might say, he's not the quickest, he's not the strongest player in the world, physical wise, whatever else. But that mentality gives you an extra 10, 20% sometimes. And for me, that's what Luke Berry gives it. Like you say, technical, but sometimes we have to put in the hard graft and the dirty work. I feel like he does that sometimes.
Do you know what? If we had time, we could go to every single player and point out how well they played on Saturday. Every single player.
I just want to pinpoint Luke Berry there.
Yeah, Berry.
He hasn't started for a while.
No, he was great.
Well, he was great. Say against Wycombe, but he doesn't really get his fair crack sometimes, and I don't know. I always sit there and say it.
I've always liked when Berry's playing. I've always loved him playing. He's committed, and I love it.
I love it.
We're just in love with everybody at the moment, aren't we? Let's be fair.
Well, we put to you guys on social media about what do you think gave us the edge over Watford, and after that result, how would you rate our season? Because it's been a hell of a one, and I've said now, look, I'm obviously, if we lost every game now to the rest of the year, I wouldn't even bothered. Like that weekend result for me, just the icing on the cake, and we won't. But if we did, I wouldn't care.
I think I would be.
Well, either way, this is what you guys said. Mark says we wanted it more. You could tell by the desire, commitment. Every player played their part and knew their role to get the win. They all knew the importance of winning as well. A good season is now a great one, and I'm still buzzing. Neville says, was concerned we looked too lightweight when the team was announced, but took the game to them from the start and looked bang up for it. Exceeded expectations this season, not struggling with relegation fodder and upset a few bigger fancy teams. Realistically, we haven't been around that bottom three at all this season, have we? We have been comfortable
We've
all
always
season.
Been about at least, I think, 5, 6, 7 points clear, at least.
It's been very comfortable, but nervy at times, but comfortable, if that makes sense.
Because you wonder. The balance could always swing in favour of like other teams and whatever else. But I mean, when it's come to the crunch time, and Luton have had to pull their socks up. They've done it.
Yeah, just look at we've beaten Norwich. We beat Norwich very well at home. We've beaten the second place team very well at home. We've had some great performances, and have we over? Yeah. No, I think we've done brilliantly this season. It's consolidation. We always said that last season. Consolidate your position and then move up the league next year.
Yes. And look at the size of the clubs who are struggling. Derby County, Wayne Rooney manager, Sheffield Wednesday. There's every chance one of them is going to go down. Mate, this league is so difficult with such massive clubs, with such massive expectation, with such magic. I don't talk about budgets, but with a lot of money, what we've achieved, where we can finish. If we build on the last couple of results and go on a little run now, top 10's a distinct possibility. And what an amazing finish that would be.
Can you imagine?
I'm the same, Luke. If we lose every game now, of course we'd be disappointed because that's the nature of a football fan, and we don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that. But I don't think anybody can underestimate the quality of the season, the massive and brilliant job that Nathan Jones has done, and how proud we are of our football club.
And who knows, with this Super League chat, imagine if they kick all them 6 teams out the Premier League, maybe it'll be top 5 go up and 6 to 10 will be a playoff space or something. Top 10 we get in play. Who knows?
Absolutely not. It's not happening.
Either way, Richard says, I think our players knew they'd let us down in the return fixture. This was a statement performance from us. 1, to put the record straight against Watford, and 2, to show the league that next season we'll not be here to make up the numbers. Because it is about kicking on next season, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, I'm 100%. I think I think Nathan knows this division now. I think he's gone there to Stoke and he's seen a lot of it. I think he's come back and had this season now where he's shown that he can adapt his tactics at times to what we need to do. He's shown he's brought personnel in that know the level and know the league, and he knows what he wants. 100% now. We need to kick on now. I'm not saying we need to be in the top 3 next season. But next season, we perhaps need to be more mid-table, pushing top half, rather than mid-table, looking behind off our shoulders a few times. I think that would be a realistic expectation from us. And I think with a handful maybe of additions, listen, I think a lot of our recruitment is going to be based on who stays. Because if Sonny Bradley goes, then a centre-half is a must. Excuse me. Obviously, we've got Lockyer and again, depending on Matty Pearson. So I think centre halves is a must. I think obviously it depends on Pelly, who's slowly and surely winning me over.
Same as that. I've got to stop you. Same as that.
And my family won't believe I'm saying it, but for me, just what he brings, I don't want to go back over things and other, but what he brings off the field as much as on the field, I think we need to keep him at the football club.
Well, he's one that did know the importance of that derby because there's videos of him singing that he hates Watford, so he's definitely one that knows. Yeah,
and I think obviously Elliot Lee's going to go out of the club. I think obviously James Collins' situation will determine whether, for me, I want us to keep James Collins 100%. Whether we will or not, I'm not so sure. I think that will perhaps run a little bit because I think what James Collins wants and maybe what James Collins will get maybe not be the same thing. And I think from his point of view, maybe better the devil and et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. So I think a lot of our recruitment will be based on the players that we've already got. But I do think we need an influx of 2 or 3 to supplement that anyway. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for our recruitment in the summer. I think we've got the right people in the right place to make those decisions. And I totally agree. Next season's important that we kick on and we don't stand still, because if we stand still, other clubs are going to surpass us. So, but everything for me at the moment for Luton Town Football Club is so positive, and I think we just need to continue that positivity as support.
I agree. In all fairness as well, like you say, obviously we need to go past what we've done. I mean, look at Barnsley, for example. I mean, I called this at the beginning of the season to you boys. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to have
Big
this
yourself
one.
up. Yeah, have it, mate.
I'm going to have this one because I said about Barnsley, and I really do rate Barnsley and what they've done. And I've got to hold my hands up and clap them, whatever else. But brilliant.
You need to.
And hey,
carry on.
What did you say?
Nothing.
Sorry, David.
No, I agree.
No,
you said it, but we've already said, and we just had it reaffirmed. We've already said you consolidate your position, you improve, you push up the league. We're not ready to go to the Premier League yet. We're not, but we will get there if we carry on performing the way we are and developing the way we are. By the time we get to Power Court, we'll be in a very strong position, hopefully, and we've re-established ourselves as a proper championship club, and that's what we want.
Like I said about Barnsley, obviously, like you say, obviously you don't want to go on too much about budgets and whatever else, but like you say, if Barnsley can do what they've done,
then
why can't we?
Yeah, haven't got the most money in the world, have they?
Exactly, then why can't we?
It's going to be exciting as well, especially with season tickets on sale again now, the possibility of full crowds at games next season, away days. Sheffield United have already confirmed to be down, but we could potentially, Newcastle's looking unlikely now, but some cracking away days. And before we get into some Instagram questions, we need to give a big shout out to Mark on Twitter, who's decided to donate some money to charity for the goal that Colo scored the other day. Number 19, scoring the winner in the 78th minute, meant £97 to a chosen charity, which James Collins and his partner decided to match that as well. And now everyone can go donate to it. So we've put a link to it on our social media, Owen the Town, and I think the official Luton Town page is done as well. So if you can go donate to that, why not? Brilliant cause.
Well done, Mark.
Well done, Mark. Smashing it as always.
Yep, brilliant.
And let's get into some Instagram questions then. I feel we should start off with this because it's in the news a lot. And Jim says, what would the Super League mean for us? Do you reckon, Andy, from all this Super League chat, that it would affect Luton as a club?
It's hard to say. Who knows? I think what the implications would be of it happening. I think it would be disastrous in terms of taking football away from taking the 6 biggest clubs, if you like, away. I don't think it's the football clubs who are doing it. I think it's just the owners who are trying to make more money. And John F. Henry, the Glazers, Daniel Levy, all those. They're not representing their football club. They're not representing the history of they're not representing the fans. They're not representing everything that's gone on with these football clubs over the last 150 years. They're just charlatans trying to make an extra buck. And if it goes through, I'd be amazed. I don't think it would be allowed. What implication would it have on Luton Town? It's impossible to say, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it would be healthy for any football club in this country if it was to happen. So I don't think it'll happen, and I hope it doesn't happen. The only way I'd be happy with it if VAR wasn't included in the Super League. But
I would say personally that if they want to go and if they push it out, then stop them. How can they go and play in a Super League, get £300 million each team that plays in there, and come back and try and compete in the domestic league? There is such an advantage there. So if they're going to go to the Super League, let them go and then cut them out.
Fuck them off,
Cut them out. Don't let them back in. And if they want to come back in, you can start right at the bottom again. Mm-hmm. If the big 6 and big 5 plus Tottenham, if they have that desire, if their fans are really good fans, they won't support it. And I think I heard on the radio today, someone said, they'll just get the tourists in. Well, good luck to you. And do you know what will happen when they do the Super League? What will happen is it won't be in Europe, it won't be at home. They'll take it around the world. They'll take it to USA. They'll take it to other continents. And you'll miss all your flicking football. So stuff it.
And this is the thing, it's literally a massive middle fingers up to the fans as well, isn't it? Really, it's disgusting. For me, I think it's absolutely disgraceful. I mean, whatever big clubs and if you want to call them that or whatever they are, like you say, Tottenham, Arsenal, whatever else, but it's disgraceful. I think supporters have got used in the Premier League. Supporters, especially those bigger clubs, have got used to those millions and millions of pounds that are being spent on their players, and they say, why haven't we spent 50 million on this guy and this guy? They haven't got a real reality check on what the game is. Mm-hmm. It's all about money. And for the owners, they don't give a crap about history.
The scary thing is where Man City were, 15, 16 years ago, 20 years ago? That's what gets me about Man City fans. I know quite a few of them, and they moan when they finish second in the Premier League. Well, where were you 15, 20 years ago when you were
trying to avoid
relegation? I know that's a generalisation, and they're not all like that. But I just think a lot of clubs forget where they come from, forget their morals, forget where what's gone before them. And I know. Listen, if we were in the top 6 clubs in this country, our board wouldn't allow it, but I certainly wouldn't be for it. So I think it's a
and eventually it will become like the American franchise. That's what will happen.
Absolutely,
they'll take Man United and they'll go, do you know what, Manchester, you can start off. We're going somewhere else. Yeah, and that will be that. And they will play. They will play that. Was it talk of a couple of seasons ago, a 39th game playing in America or wherever else? That will happen. So
and in a week as well. Let's not forget that Luton offered a discount on season tickets this week. And you just compare that. So, like, Luton fans this week get that opportunity of a discount for our season ticket next year. And then
there's pay £400, mate, for the season we didn't actually save. So
yeah, but then you get fans of Man United that are waking up today going, "Oh, look, we might just be taken away into another league where are going to be priced out of games because then they're going to be expensive games to go to."
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it's a massive middle fingers up to the fans. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Honestly,
but we're lucky, aren't we, to have such a good club and such good owners.
Can you imagine the 6 teams then playing in Europe and at home are not getting any domestic fixtures apart from playing Arsenal, Chelsea? How boring is that going to be?
Shocking.
But like I said,
it's a closed shop as well, so no one can get in it apart from them.
It shows though.
Sorry.
I was going to say, it shows that Luton are in a good place with just how well run the club is?
Yeah, again, going back to Saturday, just sit out. As I say, I was sort of 5 yards away from Gary and David, and honest to God, they were on their feet more than they were sat down, heading every ball in. Gary, I'm nobody to Gary Sweet. I spent 6 months at the club as a player. The day I left the football club, he invited me up to his office. He made me a coffee, and he's never, any time I've ever picked up the phone to him or anything or asked him anything, he's always, because he knows how much I mean to the football club means to me. And as soon as I saw him on Saturday, he came over and he spoke to me, and and I said, "How's it going?" And he just sort of looked at me and said, "Burge, you know what? It's hard. It's really, really hard." He said, "But we'll keep going. We'll keep trying our best. We'll keep doing it." And I just sort of said, you're doing magnificent. I think everybody says he's doing brilliant, and we are genuinely incredibly lucky to have the people that we've got at the top of our football club, and what they've done with the journey. And when you see people like Simon Jordan saying he's talking rubbish on TalkSport, that just made my fucking piss boil. Honest to God, for that dickhead to say that was disgusting. And we are so fortunate. We're in a lucky place.
Yeah, and I think also I need to remember, and I think sometimes we're quite quick to criticise the team and the performance sometimes, but we don't mean it because we don't love the club and we don't love the management. It just gets frustration, isn't it?
You're just living in the game.
You just live in the moment. So sometimes you think, that's bollocks, whatever else, but you do know that we're stable up the top,
and that's just the reason why if you lose a game of football the next week you come back and it's just completely forgotten, and it's just there and then that moment, isn't it? And
hey, listen, I paid for my season ticket the same as everybody else who did. We had not seen any games. Some people are lucky to see one or two. Someone sort of someone saw the best one of the season, but I don't regret paying for that.
I don't recall Luton 0, Brentford 3 being the best one of the season. Well, I was there. I'm just saying. I've been to a game as well this season. So
yeah, hang on a minute. You called that the best game?
No, I said I don't recall it being.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he did.
That could go really horribly then, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's move on. We've got a few more to get through.
Start digging your hole.
Just hurry up and come back and work for us.
James says, of the returning loans, and he's listed them, like Lee, Osho, Newfield, Kioso and Eisted, who plays a part next season? What do you think, Andy, in terms of them 5 players, what needs to happen for them? Because I can't imagine Eisted and Newfield are going to be getting any game time.
I think Kioso's got a chance because I think James Bree perhaps hasn't got to the heights. I think he was perhaps a bit better under Graham Jones. He was perhaps one of the very few who perhaps was performing better under Graham. He perhaps hasn't got to where we want to. And I think Kioso's been excellent at Bolton and then Northampton. And the fact that he's gone out and played, he's obviously done so well in League Two that we've pulled him back and then put him back into League One. I think that's a big thing, although obviously Northampton are scrapping for the lives. But I think he's got a part to play. I think he's energetic, he's lively, he's very attacking. I think he'll push James Bree, and I think we'll keep him. I like Osho. I do like him, and I think he's that athleticism that we lack at the back. Whether he can be trusted, I'll come back to that trusted word. Whether he can be trusted to go and play 46 championship games, I'm not so sure. But put him alongside of Sonny Bradley for 10, 12, 15 games. I think maybe he's also one who can step into midfield. We almost took him at Mansfield to be a holding midfielder. We took Shaughnessy. I think I mentioned last time we took Shaughnessy instead, but he's someone who can do that. So I think those two have got a part to play. Again, depending on, I think, who stays and who goes. But I would say, for someone who's perhaps ready to come back in, I would say that Kioso would probably one who I'd look at. Maybe we'll start the season next season if I'm putting my hat on it.
I think we had this conversation with boys a few weeks back. I don't know if you heard, Andy, but I think we were all in favour of Kioso as well. I mean, I've seen him play a few times. I watched him at Bolton a couple of times. I've not seen him at Northampton yet, but I've heard a few, positive things flying about. But for me, he is a player. I mean, how old is he now? 23, 22? 21, not even that, is he?
But that's how you develop a player, isn't it? If he's not good enough to start in the Championship right now, you put him out on loan, he gets the match experience,
and his stats,
and you develop him.
And his stats as well. I know people go, it's not stats, not everything, but
you have to say
incredible.
You have to say that's why we've got Dewsbury Hall, isn't it?
And we know he's a class act as well. So I'm all for that as well. Getting back to Luton.
And it's not as if he can't make the step up. If Adebayo stepped up from League Two to the Championship, and Kyoto's had half a season in League Two, then half a season in League One, albeit Northampton have been struggling, but That's good experience, isn't
that
it?
makes a player though sometimes. Doesn't it?
Those two, he's gone to Bolton, and although Bolton have fallen from grace, the expectation at that football club is huge.
Yeah.
You know, that for me, the expectation, although Rushden was a small club in terms of stature, because of the money behind the club, there was always that expectation, and that expectation that's on you every game to perform is huge. So he's had that expectation at Bolton, and then he's gone to Northampton in an absolute dogfight he's had he's been exposed to two vastly different experiences. Massive for him, massive for his development, and the fact that he's been performing in that as well is an absolute bonus. And I think he'll be a big player. Well, not a big player. I think he'll be an important player to push us on next season.
I think we can all agree with that as well. 100. It's brilliant. Yeah, because
it's exciting, isn't it? Just have another young fullback coming through, though, isn't it? You know,
yeah, the future's bright. It's orange.
After 2 years of watching Stacey and Justin at fullback, it's nice to know that you've got like Hioso coming through the ranks, isn't it?
Isn't it nice though? After all that crap in the conference, that we are progressed so much. It's
don't say that. You played a little bit in the conference.
No, I don't mean it. No.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm saying is,
you bastard.
Let me rephrase that. He just called me toothless. Well, you know what I mean. You know, the absolute despair of getting actually relegated out of the league after you've, in my lifetime, never seen them out of the league. And we've had 5 years of trying to get back. Isn't it great to be where we are?
That's amazing.
Amazing.
It's brilliant, isn't it? And hopefully we're back in the stadiums next season. I haven't got a season ticket. I need to go on the waiting list to get one. But
I do realise I'll sell you
just give
every single match for
Andy, give Gary a call.
Chris says, we'll do this last one, and it's a bit of a silly one. He says, do you think we'd have more or less points playing with crowds?
God knows.
It's one of them ones, obviously, you don't know, but...
Well, I would say a lot of things about that. I think sometimes, I don't care what... The referee is impartial, we get that. But sometimes, when you get a huge amount of noise going at him, and you go, oh, did I miss that? Is that how it works? You know, I think with the crowd behind you, the team performs a little bit better. And I also think you literally can influence. I mean, I remember when we had left-hand linesmen down at the Kenny, so they're running down by the tunnel where I sit, and we was having to go at this lino the whole match, literally because he was giving what we thought were the wrong decisions. And eventually he gave the wrong decision our way, which, you know, I just felt we influenced him.
Happens, yeah.
So I think sometimes I go, oh, did I get that wrong? Just think about the offside. You can imagine all those fans that were sitting next to or where the lino is, they would have shouted out offside on Saturday. He would have listened. Great.
Just to answer that question, it sort of works both ways as well, doesn't it? With you know, obviously fans, other teams' fans influencing them as well in terms of having more points. It's hard to say, isn't it? But without a shadow of a doubt, fans influence officials, fans influence players. You know, I think the more stick for me as my experience was, the more stick I got off the fans when I went back to Oxford as a Rushden player, having left Oxford. The more stick they gave me, the more it wanted me to perform. We got beat 3-0, but even so, you know, them throwing a toilet roll at my head in the tunnel. I got properly sucked in as well because someone shouted Andy, and I thought, oh, someone's going to be nice to me. I turn around and a loo roll smashed me right between the eyes there, and I thought, here we go. But
you should have nodded it back.
I was never very good at heading.
But at the end of the day, as a fan, you hope you influence your team. You hope you give them that bit extra, you know, that little bit of a cheer or that little bit of a come on, you know, that sort of thing. And
100%.
You imagine on Saturday with that going on after we've had that first 5 minutes, it would have been immense. Absolutely immense.
I tell you what, though, it's pretty good job we weren't there on Saturday because I think, as soon as I see Andre Gray score, I think I would run on the pitch and just, I don't know what I would have done. Because I tell you what, right, that's probably the biggest cheer of the night for me, or of the afternoon, should I say.
So Ego, Watford get promoted, and he comes available on a free.
You see, I think
that's quite naughty. That is.
I think it's quite naughty, but I think sometimes you've got to let grudges go. We've done that with the manager.
But when he starts doing all this sort of shit or whatever he's doing, he's a fucking dickhead.
Actually, this is one thing I totally disagree. I totally disagree on, and I really do disagree on it. Back when I was younger, when a player left your club and they got interviewed, you're playing your old club this week, and they'd go, yeah, I can't wait to score against them. I can't wait to do this. And they would celebrate. What's wrong with celebrating? They're playing bloody football for their team.
Dave,
What's wrong with that?
don't you sit here and
why do they
Dave,
need to
come
show
on,
some respect?
Oh, Jesus Christ. You're sitting here telling me, right, that Watford, he's just scored for Watford. He scores the goal, he celebrates,
No, hang
starts
on.
giving it all this sort of shit on his chest.
Hang on a
You're
minute.
happy with that?
Hang on a minute. This is that's different. Luton and Watford is different. However,
It's the same thing.
It's not.
Knobhead
When you go
play.
to some of these Premier League clubs and they're playing their games and someone scores against their old thing and they just go, "Oh, I'm not going to celebrate that goal." Bollocks. That's what you're playing the game for.
What
Will you
would
stop
do?
asking
If
difficult
Andre-
questions?
If Andre Gray was available in the summer on a free as a foil for Adebayo, James Collins goes and he's the replacement. What are you saying? Do it or not? If you're the manager,
Do it.
are you taking him or not?
Do it.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Andy, right? What would you do? What would you do?
I
would you
don't
do?
know. I think it would be hard for him to be accepted back to the club at the moment.
Especially after what he did the other day.
yeah.
Come on, man.
But,
I don't care if it was disallowed or not. That is disgraceful.
I mean,
But the Nathan Jones thing has got to go as proof to say. I'm not saying I'd do either way, but everyone, if any, when he went to Stoke, if anyone said he's coming back, I think people would have gone no chance, not happening.
What if he came back,
I
scored
don't-
29 goals and fired us to the Premier League?
well, personally, I can't see that happening because he hasn't been prolific since he left
Right,
Brentford,
lads,
has he? Let's be
tell
fair.
you what, right? I tell you what. For the next minute, leave me out of this one.
Put your headphones back on, man.
I can't talk about it.
Put your headphones back on. I was going to say he wasn't prolific after he left Brentford to go to Watford. So yeah, no, I won't have him back, Andy. There you go. There's my answer.
Great, no problem. That's fine.
I wouldn't like to see him back because I think that if he missed an open goal or an absolute sitter, instead of James Collins, do you know what? He'll probably score another one next week or whatever.
You
else.
just get angry.
I think I just get mad and I don't know what I'll do.
We don't want an angry Potaro anytime soon, so we'll take you as a no as well.
Yeah, I go bright red.
Yeah.
You see me, it's embarrassing.
Well, that's all we got time for today. A nice hour-long podcast, a special
And
one.
the camera went off.
And yeah, the camera. We lost the camera halfway through. But next week I'm not going to be here, so Dave's going to be leading the podcast. Should be a good one. Andy, thanks so much for joining us.
I wouldn't say that.
We'll get you
Pleasure.
back again,
Thank you.
and yeah, get us on socials. Owen the Town. We're on YouTube. Go watch the podcast and Twitter. Owen the Town. Nice one, guys. And what a win!
and
What a win.
and fuck you, Andre Gray, you prick.
Oh God.
Sorry for the bad language. Very sorry. But we'll see you next time.